Hey Dom, I made a video for you to kind of navigate and know kind of where to start and stuff with your classes. Um, you'll see on the screen right now I have the login links for the Minnesota Online High School. This is a good place to favorite. If you're using Chrome, you can just click this star and that'll favorite this site right here. You're going to want to have your email open and your classes open anytime you're working. And the reason being is we use OneDrive in our email to download documents. So make sure that you have your email open and logged into, as well as your class link right here. So I did pull up Blackboard. I was logged off just due to inactivity for tonight. However, I have your information put in here, and if I hit login, it should bring me to your classes. Now, I'm not going to save it because it's not mine. However, that is an option you can have where it saves your login. And that would probably be a good idea. All students should start with your technology orientation here, and this runs through just basic stuff that you need to complete in order to get your computer set up. So anytime you go into any of your classes, even with technology orientation, you're going to have an announcements page, which is exactly where we're at right here. And it gives you a little watch video to kind of know what steps to take. Once you're done with that, you'll see in this left-hand column is your navigation, and this is going to be the same for your classes. Everything in the left-hand column is going to be your navigation. You're going to see you have contact, which is Mr. Pete and myself. You have tech support, which is where you submit tech tickets for anything not working. And then you have your My Assignments and My Progress. My Assignments is going to be where you go for your work, and My Progress is going to be where you go to see your grades. So if I click on My Assignments, this goes into steps in order to set up your class. These are called folders. And you're going to have folders in all your classes. So when we talk about weeks, like week 1, week 2, those are all folders. And they're going to have this icon like this. So let's say I want to go into step 1 folder, set up your Microsoft Office 365 tools. I click on this title link. Anytime you see a link like this with an underline, that's going to be a link to something else. So if I click into that, I go into the step 1, set up your Microsoft Office 365 tools, and it gives you an overview of what you're going to do. And then you'll see we go down and we have assignments. Now the icons tell you a lot with classes. Anytime you see a folder with a paper like this, that's just an item. It's something to read. You'll see again how this title is just bolded. Now if you go down here, this is a title with an underline, so that's a link. Same thing with this one, and same thing with this one. There's different types of assignments. You can have just a general assignment, which is what this is. There's journals, discussions, blogs, and then it's called the test format, but we don't usually use it for tests in every class. A lot of times it's just an easy graded multiple choice option. Now you'll see right here it says click to download the Microsoft 365 apps to your desktop. You get that for free through your email. So it'll show you how to log into your email, what to look for, installing options, and then that gives you all of the Microsoft Office tools for free on your computer, and it goes through your login through the school. So that's the first piece that this has you doing. Now once you get to this point and it says follow the prompts, return to Blackboard and submit the assignment following the instructions there. So this is getting your computer ready with your free downloads. And then it says click the assignment title above, 1A download Microsoft 365 apps, which is this title. It says create or click create submission and then type I did it. So if I click on this, this is what brings us into the drop box. So this is where you drop any of your work for submission. So if I go into here, you'll see there's a submission. This keeps popping up like this for all the students. Don't worry about it, but this is a submission text. You have an uploads file and then add comments. So I would just click on this hullabaloo because you want the submission text. So anytime you go into here, the top one will always be submission text. And so I would type I did it like that. And then you go down here and hit submit, and that would submit to us to know that you have that done. So that's part of submitting an assignment. Now I'm not going to do that just because this is for you to do. But you'll see that that goes through the steps of getting your Office apps, making sure you know how to take a screenshot, because most, if not all classes, are going to have you submitting a screenshot, especially chemistry. Setting up your Minnos email, so you go through and send an email. and then being able to save files through OneDrive. So it's going through the steps so you know that you're comfortable using the tools that we have. And if you go through those actually go rather quick. And then there's a step 2, where if I go into this, it's editing the Word document, which you want to be able to do, making sure you know how to check your grades. And that goes through this My Progress link right here. So there's 2 things there. And then step 3 is Adobe Connect. And that's being able to log into any of the Adobe platforms, showing us that you're able to get in, because that's what we access for one-on-one meetings. That's what we do for the Academic Success Center. And that's also what we use for the chemistry meeting that you have with me. I think you're in chemistry and technology though, so we don't have meetings in quarter 3 for that. But if you take chemistry next quarter with me with chemistry and the environment, then we will have meetings. So this is technology orientation. Again, this is to get you used to the programs, used to the apps, and downloading anything else you might need. When you do technology orientation, once it's done, it's done. So you don't have to do it again. Okay? Your activities is like the media center. It's not a class, but it does have workshops and things in it. So these 2 pieces right here are references for you. And again, when you do technology orientation, once you're done, it's done. So your main classes are chemistry and technology, economics, English survey, ramp up, and world history. Now, ramp up is awesome because if you go to the meetings, you don't have to do anything else for the most part. It's set up that way. So if you attend the live meetings with Miss Benson and you go to those, she covers the assignments and everything. So that's literally all you have to do. That gets done just like that. So that leaves you with world history, English, economics, and chemistry and tech. Now I'm going to go in chemistry and technology, and anytime you want to get out of a class, you just go back to my courses up here. But so this is chemistry and technology. This is the class you have with me. You'll see that it has just an announcements page on what to expect and where to start. Now I'll go through this stuff kind of as we work our way through, but I just want you to notice that you are on the announcements page. Anytime you go into a class, it goes right to the announcements page. And then on the left, you have your navigation bar. So you have your contact for support. So you have contact me, the virtual drop-in help. So if you click on that, it tells you my hours that I'm online just for drop-in questions, but I can always meet outside of this too. You just have to contact me and let me know. And then this is my office link. Then you have main course links, my assignments, just like the technology orientation. That's where you go to get your assignments. Class meetings are usually on Tuesdays at 4 p.m., but like I said, chemistry and technology does not have meetings in quarter 3, so all students use the makeup option. There's a glossary for vocabulary terms, course resources like a periodic table, your My Progress, which goes to your grade center, and then of course the syllabus for the class. I'll talk about the course badges in a little bit though. So if you click on My Assignments, excuse me, if you click on My Assignments, that brings you in to the first things you should be doing. Now, all students need to do the Getting Started folder. It is not optional. You will not be able to do my class without doing it. So you'll click on the Getting Started folder, and this is like technology orientation. Once it's done, it's done. So when you get here, it tells you there's 4 things to have you do, and all of these assignments, 3 of them are to start accounts. We use Edpuzzle a lot. We use Explore Learning, which is our online labs. And then a physics classroom account, which a lot of times students are like, this isn't physics, it's chemistry. Well, they have concept builders that are also for chemistry on there. So I have students use that just because it's an easy way of going through. It gives you hints on how to do stuff and gives you just general work problems to work through. So that's what to expect. And you'll notice it's set up similar where you have an assignment, you have that title link right here. And again, that always brings you to your Dropbox. So you'll see it gives you information. We're going to use Edpuzzle. Then it has you doing either an account if you never had one, or an account if you do have one, but just adding the class. Most students don't have an Edpuzzle account, so they go through this. But if you do, you can go through this site because it just has you using the chemistry link. And then ultimately, once you get logged in with your name, you just take a screenshot and you submit your screenshot for grading. So anytime you want to submit something, you click on the title link. Brings you back into here. And usually with screenshots, students save them as a file. So you'd go to Upload File, Browse Local Files, and then that'll bring you to your computer files that you have. You click on the file you want. I would make sure to make a separate chemistry and technology folder to save your assignments. And then you hit submit, and that sends it to me to grade. Now, once you get getting started done, again, 3 accounts and then just knowing what to expect with the class. This is the test setup that I was mentioning, where you click on the title link and it brings you here and it just tells you it's a test, but it's not a test. I don't grade it like a test. Hit begin, and then it just gives you the options to answer these questions as you go through, just so you know what to expect. And then the last question is do you have any questions on the class? Once you have that done, you hit save and submit, and that submits it to me for grading. Anything below this is just extra information. So you go back to my assignments. You have the getting started folder done when you do those things. And again, you don't have to do it again once it's done. So your next step is to go into week 1. Now, the technology orientation and the getting started folder in my class might take you a half-hour to do all of that. It goes by rather fast, but again, in order to make sure things go smoothly, you want to make sure you have your email open and that you're logged in. I know the technology orientation goes through those steps to get you to do that, but just make sure you do those steps in order to keep them from being confusing. Now, once you go into chemistry, you'll see every weekly folder that you go into is going to have an overview that looks just like this. It goes through the list of assignments. So we have 5 main assignments, and then there's an optional honors. Now, if you feel overwhelmed, like if you have a hard week, if you're sick, if something's going on, there's what's called the focused first assignments, and these are in every class that you have. And those are the bare minimum you should get done in order to make sure you have the knowledge to move forward. Now, the assignments that you skip are not exempted, so they do still count towards your grade, but if you get the focused first assignments done, you can always choose to go back to these assignments later and submit them. So that's always an option. One thing I do have in my class is this mark reviewed. So let's say you go through the overview and you're like, okay, I've looked at this. You can click that and it says you have it reviewed. So you know that you've done it. Now I'm going to undo it just so I can let you do it. Now when you scroll down, the next one is a meeting. That's the same for all of the chemistry. It's going to look exactly the same. Week 1, if we did have live meetings, would still not have one. So this is where students get used to the voice thread. So when you click on this, this leads you to the voice thread, which is really just a fancy voiceover PowerPoint. And then you have your fill in the blank notes, which I can open like this. Now this is going into the OneDrive account, and it's not saying I'm logged in up here. Now it is. So if you're logged into your email, it's going to pop this up. Now you'll see that on here I can edit this, and that's because I'm the creator. But students don't have that ability. So if you wanted to download this, a lot of times there's going to be some like triple dot kind of like this over here that you can click on to give you the option to download. Or I always tell students you can click in the search and just type in download and then hit download a copy. That'll download. You can click to open that. And then that'll open into your Word that you downloaded from technology orientation. If it says enable editing, you have to click that. Sometimes it does that, sometimes it doesn't, but you have to do that. And then you can type in your answers and make edits. And it doesn't affect the class one that everybody accesses. So let's say you watch the voice thread, you add your answers, you're ready to submit it. Again, you go to this title link, and that's going to go through the Dropbox. So you see these assignments go in order on what to do. And that's going to be what you complete for week 1. Okay, once you have week 1 done, you're done. You don't have to do any more. You just wait for week 2 to open. So let's say if you get caught up this weekend and week 2 opens on Monday, you could go into week 2 in chemistry and technology and do all those assignments on Monday. And once they're done, you don't have to worry about chemistry and technology until the following week. Unless if you get like any points docked and you want to revise for points back, you can always do that and you'll get points back. So students really control their grade. It's just up to you on what you want for your grade at the end of the year. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is in chemistry and technology, we have a little bit of a different approach. I don't do tests, but I do critical assignments, which are sometimes project-based, sometimes report-based. But there's 4 of them in chemistry and technology. They're in week 5, 6, 7, and 8. And they're mandatory. So students have to complete them. You can't pass the class without them. Students could get an 80% overall in the class. If they're missing one critical assignment, they don't pass. So they're required to pass. You have to do all 4, and you have to earn at least 60% of the grade. So that would be like 12 points out of 20 on each one in order for them to count. And then you have to make sure your overall grade's 60%. Now, I know that sounds like a lot to remember. Don't worry. I email and let students know where they're at or what they need to do as we get closer to the end of the quarter. So you're not going to be alone in that. But just know that that is something that is going to be different about my class other than other classes. Now, if you wanted to see your grade, you click on My Progress. And it goes through your overall percent. So you have a current percent, which is just the weeks we're working on. And then you have a quarter-based grade that's on all of the weeks that we do. So let's say you submit a few assignments and you see that both these grades go up, but this one goes up more than this one. That's because this top grade is only looking at the folders that we're doing up until this point. So your grade for the current week 1 through 8 is based on just the getting started in week 1 because that's all that's open right now. If you want to know where your overall grade is for the entire course, for all the assignments we do, that would be this bottom one right here. And then once you get a grade, you'll see a number pop up. If I leave feedback, there'll be a little comment blurb that you can click on, and that'll pop up feedback. This one was because I clicked into that test format, and it's saying it's in progress. And then when you submit assignments that need to be graded, they're going to be a yellow circle with an exclamation point in them. So just some little things to look for. Now again, all your classes are going to be set up in a similar fashion with an overview, a focus first. They might not have meetings in all the classes. They might have different approaches. They might not have critical assignments. So for example, if you go into economics, that's Ms. Pedic. And then you can go into My Assignments, and again, you got that Getting Started folder. And then you got week 1 right here. So this is going to be where you would go. You have your checklist on what to do, the focus first in case you're overwhelmed, and then it has you dive in right in, okay? And again, the drop box is the same. You got this title link up here. You can choose whether you want to do a submission text or if you want to upload files. So as you go through and get used to submitting stuff, you'll notice it's similar and it's got the same kind of flow. Just be sure to follow any instructions on there in case you get stuck, and you can always email anybody if you're confused on anything you have to do. So watch this, make sure you do your technology orientation, and then try the Getting Started folder in chemistry and technology first, since I went through that, and then let me know if anything else is still confusing you or if you need help on anything else.